Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have to start up a review series for something that's coming out as a new sequel, a new movie, for a sequel to a big franchise many of you know, many of you in the horror community probably love. It's called Evil Dead. I need to start up the reviews for these because, of course, Evil Dead Rise comes out at the end of April. I forgot what day it is. Maybe it's mid-April. It's somewhere in that ballpark. But anyway, I am not a big Evil Dead guy, if I'm being honest with you. Basically, I own two of these movies, and I've never seen the TV show Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is the newest thing we have from this franchise. But I do own the original movie, The Evil Dead, from 1981 with Bruce Campbell, the movie, of course, I'm about to review in just a moment. And then I have the remake from 2013 that I love deeply. I don't know which of these are my favorite thing. Many of you might be surprised to know it's one of these two things. I haven't really decided yet because I love them so much. But before I get into reviewing these movies, I do want to let you know that I am going to have a ranking video eventually when I review all this stuff and see the new movie, God willing. I will review all of that. I'm not going to rank the show, Ash vs. Evil Dead, in with these movies, but the 5 movies I will rank at some point. Now, this is the thing. There are 3 original films. You have Evil Dead, The Evil Dead, 1981. Then you have Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Is that what it is? I think it's the subtitle. Never been a big fan of that particular one. I'm going to start watching it today. I hope I like it more than what I used to back in the day, because I've never been a fan of that particular movie for whatever reason. I like aspects to it. Never been crazy about it. We'll see if that changes this time around on my 3rd or 4th watch of that movie. And then there's the 3rd film, Army of Darkness, which a lot of people like, and I think it's good too. I like it better than Evil Dead 2, as a matter of fact. I can already feel the hate mail in the comments. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I let you guys down. Then, of course, you had the remake. Reboot, whatever you want to call that. Kind of a spin-off, but kind of not. Evil Dead Rise looks like it's going to be kind of one of those things like the remake, reboot, whatever it's called, from 2013, that'll be kind of its own standalone thing. But with the reviews we're seeing, where it's so massively positive, I'd be surprised. It might be like a Bruce Campbell tie-in thing, even though he says he retired the character. Just the other day, he said he's coming back to do it again, possibly in the future. I don't know. That's not a spoiler. I'm just saying, I don't know. But Evil Dead Rise looks okay. I'm not really thrilled about it. It looks fine. I hope it's good. It is Sam Raimi. Sometimes he's attached to total shit, like the 2020 Grudge remake, reboot, whatever that's supposed to be. And sometimes he's on greatness, like Spider-Man. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into The Evil Dead, the original 1981 classic. Yes, you heard me say classic. This, to me, may possibly be the scariest movie of the entire franchise, in my personal opinion. Evil Dead 2 took it in a very comedic way, almost in a soft reboot way, where they basically remade this film for that, but a little bit more over the top, a little bit more cartoonish, because the guys who were behind this, I assume Ted Raimi involved with Sam Raimi, with some other folks, and Bruce Campbell, they all came from filmmaking in a sense of comedy, and comedy skit type of things, the type of things they would make before they made this. But this is a straightforward, very serious horror film. And again, coming out in 1981, it's not too far after Halloween. It's one of the few after Halloween that was not a slasher movie. I mean, you could argue parts of it kind of are. It's kind of a zombie movie, kind of a ghost, haunted house, possession movie. It's a little bit of everything, and it has comedic elements to it, but not always deliberately. Some of it's just a little silly, a little fun, whatever. Me personally, this is the first Evil Dead movie I ever saw. And I saw it for the first time when I was about 15 or 16. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't watch the Evil Dead films until I got a little bit older. Most of these franchises I love, like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, I was watching them and obsessed with them by the time I was 12. Some of them way earlier than that. Halloween I'd been watching since I was like 5 or 6, basically. Thank you, Mom. I was obsessed with so many horror franchises, but I really didn't know much about this, aside from the clips I saw of It, Army of Darkness, and Evil Dead 2 on Bravo's Top 100 Scariest Movie Moments, way back in the day. Like the early 2000s is when I found out about those movies, because of that special. And it, like I said, it's a little bit of a blend of everything, but it mostly, I would say, is a straightforward horror film. It's trying to be serious, it's trying to be taken seriously, the tone is very serious, it's a very dark, fun movie, and I love it for that. I think 2 and 3, and even the remake to some extent, but it's more serious too than 2 and 3, they all kind of disrespect this original film, and it's so unfair that they did that. Now, I know 2 didn't come out until like 1987, so like 6 years down the road, but, I mean, dude, The Evil Dead, the original OG movie, is a classic. It's truly kind of scary, in my opinion. It has a very basic concept, very basic setup, very first film-like. I don't know if this is Sam Raimi's first ever movie. It could be, it might not be. I just didn't take out the time to look. I should have, but I'm an idiot. So what did you expect? Anyway, this is written and directed by Sam Raimi, and I think it shows a great example of his type of talent. The directing is very good. Even for its time, I think it's very above what a lot of people were doing at that time, above a lot of people like John Carpenter in ability at that time, you know? For the horror genre of movies, I think it was classic directing. Really, really, really unique stuff that were shown in this movie, in my opinion. Now, what is the plot for this flick? A lot of you probably already know this if you happen to be watching the movie, or the review here, but essentially it's about a group of 5 people. There's Bruce Campbell, who pretty much became the face of Evil Dead, aside from Sam Raimi, but on the camera, on the picture, the title Evil Dead typically had Bruce Campbell's face attached to it. And Bruce Campbell I love. In this original movie, you can tell he was originally not a serious type of actor. He's a good actor, really good actor. The older he gets, he's really good. But this original film, the writing of his character Ash, who ended up becoming the face of the franchise in part 2, and kind of here, it's not the same Ash that we all know from number 2 and onward. It's just kind of a guy who's in a bad, shitty situation with ghosts and demons and all of this undead nonsense possessing people, that kind of thing. He and his sister, his girlfriend, and another couple that I guess are just some friends of theirs, are all going up to a cabin that they rented. I assume they rented. The way they talk, they don't give you a whole lot of details of why they're there, but they pretty much rented it out just to get away. They go up to this cabin. It's kind of across from this little bridge, a very ugly, doesn't look like it's going to be a very stable type of bridge. Did you hear that? I think the wind's blowing really hard outside. That doesn't make me feel good, because in Evil Dead, when the wind blows really hard, bad things happen to people. Anyway, they're all up in this cabin, and when they are there happens to be a hatch in the floor that you go into the basement that way. And all of a sudden, the hatch flies open in front of them. They wander down to the basement at some point, and they find a tape recorder down there with some film already ran through it, or whatever this is. What would you call it? Just tape? I don't know. But somebody had recorded something on this. They decide to turn out all the lights and listen to this creepy message from this doctor or archaeologist, whatever he is, who claims there's a book called the Necronomicon that he's going to read out of. This book is made of skin, it's written in blood, a different language, all of that. Kind of an urban legend type of thing, but a little silly. You know, the film itself is a little over the top enough to make it kind of comedic and silly, but it's still scary. They sit in the dark and they listen to this recording from this doctor guy, and as they do that, they start to hear the wind howling outside, a lot of really creepy shit starts to happen. They start to get attacked at different points. Different people, when they get singled off, if they're in a room by themselves or something, the window might get blown in, something might come and attack one of them. One of them gets attacked out in the woods in a really horrific, memorable fashion that even the remake respected that horrific moment in this movie. It's kind of horrifying how scary this film can be. The tone of it, again, is very serious. It wants to be treated seriously. And again, I think that's what a lot of these future sequels get wrong about this franchise and what they should have stuck with. Maybe Sam Raimi disagrees. Maybe Bruce Campbell would disagree with me about that. But I don't care. I think they're wrong. Because I think that this really shines as a truly scary film. It's always scared me. Even this time around, I had all the lights on in this room as I watched it, sitting beside my wife. And it creeped me out. It creeped me out with the lights on, dude. This movie is so good about that. One of my favorite things about the film are the execution of the ghosts, demons, whatever these are supposed to be. They look fantastic. The makeup for them is fantastic. Sometimes there's stop motion in the film, and that's great too. It's so well done. There's not really much of at the time, like a CGI type of thing, or really big special effects stuff. It's usually practical on-camera effects, and they always, to me, look good. Sometimes goofy, but still good, if that means anything to you at all. I think it's incredible. Even if the writing is not very strong for this movie, even if the character writing is not very strong for this film, even for Ash, who becomes like this huge hero with a massive chin type of character in the future, 6 years down the road with the sequel, the first of the sequels, even if that's the case, this movie doesn't need that. It's just a scary film. How many movies have you seen that you've loved that were scary to you, that you really didn't know a whole lot about the characters in that movie? I think it's fair. There's a lot of films out there like The Conjuring that you know like tidbits about the characters, but it's more about experiencing the haunted house thing through them. You know, Insidious is on the other hand, where you have characters that you know, you love, you understand what's going on with the ghosts and the haunted house stuff, but the events you're living through are through people you care about. You can pull that off on both spectrums, and this is a great example of one that pulls that off in a sense of characters you don't really know much about, but you can't help but like Bruce Campbell, even if his performance isn't great because the writing is not great in this movie. It's its biggest flaw. Again, everything from the set, with the cabin, with the outside and the woods, all of that stuff is well utilized. It's even better utilized in Evil Dead 2 from what I've seen so far of it. But where I've watched in the past, some clips I see here and now people use on YouTube for reviews, a lot of the time it looks really good. A lot of the stuff can be utilized better in that movie. But in this one, for what they wanted to do in 1981 with this original idea for a concept in a movie that I don't really think I saw a cabin in the woods, haunted house type of story ever until I saw this movie. I think it was the first to ever do that, possibly. It's so unique for its time. It's so creative for its time. Even if the writing isn't clever, everything else about it is very, very clever, and I love it, especially those practical effects, like I said. It's a little bit of a mess of a movie. It has its flaws. I have nitpicks about it. But you can't tell me this isn't a great movie. You can't tell me this doesn't creep you out or scare you just a little bit. There are a couple of moments that still put chills down my spine. Like I said, the atmosphere to it. As soon as the movie starts, the atmosphere grabs you. The music that's in there, it's not a whole lot of music, but when there is music, it's really effective. Again, with that atmospheric soundscape they have going, that's really effective too. The sound effects they have for the film, like howling. Like at one point in the film, a lot of the time, there seems to be something chasing people through the woods. You never see what it is. It's just a guy holding a camera running through the woods. But it looks like it's something that's going high and then low and high and low, running left and right throughout the woods, chasing after people. You're just seeing that first-person perspective of the monster going after these people. That's tense shit, man. It works, it's effective, and it's scary. There's just so much like that in this film. So many things you don't even have to see, that those are effective, but even the things you do see will scare you at the same time, in my opinion. If you show somebody younger this movie, they're probably not going to appreciate it. I think the atmosphere is great, I think it might grasp them, but I think a lot of people will underappreciate the kind of things that are kind of dated in this movie, which is a shame. I don't think there's any bad acting, I think everybody tries to do the best they can with the script. It's the writing that's usually the issue. But everything else, the directing and all of that, very, very high quality for its time, in my opinion. And especially for the kind of budget they had for this movie. I love it. I love it a lot. It's flawed, but I love it quite a bit. I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm not going to say anything like that. I'm still not sure, like I said, which one's better, this one or the remake for me. But I love both deeply. I think both are huge recommendations for me. If you haven't seen them, you're missing out so much, dude. You have no idea. Anyway, with all that being said, I love the 1981 The Evil Dead. Not just Evil Dead like the remake, it's The Evil Dead. The. Anyway, 1981, great flick, recommended highly. I'll see what happens with the future sequels as I review them over the coming days. Hopefully by the weekend I can finish them up. But I'll see what I think about those as I review them. I want to start watching Ash vs. Evil Dead. There's only 3 seasons of that, about 30 episodes in total, 10 episodes a season. I think it's all on Netflix too, so I'm going to try to watch all that and get some reviews out for each season. Maybe. I'll see what happens. But anyway, for right now, The Evil Dead, I love it. I think it's a great flick, even if it is flawed a little bit, or heavily sometimes. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would easily give this film a 4 out of 5 stars. Very, very good flick for what it is. Very enjoyable to this day. And again, I didn't see this until about 10 years ago. It scared the shit out of me. So, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it highly. Anyway, what do you think about this movie? What do you think about the sequels? I hope to see your comments and your thoughts in the comments section of future videos as I review these movies. Again, I'm going to pretty much rewatch Evil Dead 2 today while I'm at work, and then when I get home, I'll finish it up too. When I say I'll watch it at work, I mean during breaks, just so you know. I don't watch shit while I'm working, because I can't. Anyway, what do you think about Evil Dead? Again, the series, the TV show, all of it. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and comments down below. And thank you for watching, guys. God bless you all, and goodbye.